but you never know when someone's walking off the field for the last time. And when you consider all the things Aaron Rodgers has said over the past few years, including most recently back in June when he was doing that golf thing with Mahomes and Tom Brady and Josh Allen, somebody asked him, does he think about retirement? He says, all the time. I think about it all the time. He's been talking about it as much and more than Brett Favre did in the twilight of his career. And you got the broken thumb that we're hearing all this about, the avulsion fraction. Oh, I can't believe he's playing. All this setup, this Big Ben setup to either bask in the glory of a Willis Reed type of a performance or set the stage to go on IR. And then you throw this rib thing on top of it. He thought he had a punctured lung. I mean, Miles, when I saw him run off the field toward the tunnel last night, I think it's foolish to not at least accept the possibility that that's it, that we're never going to see him again. We have to at least entertain that possibility. Now watch, he'll play on Sunday against the Bears and throw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you really wanted to entertain that possibility. That was the first thing you texted as soon as he ran off the field. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not possible. It obviously is, and especially when you're talking about ribs, we know from all the things that happened last year, right? Think about Tua Tagovailoa. There were a couple other players where it was like, okay, the ribs seem to be all right. Maybe it's going to be this, maybe it's going to be that, and then after the recheck, or they come in again on Monday, Tuesday, whatever it was, and then, oh my gosh, no, he's going to be out for 3 weeks or so, or whatever it happens to be. So when you're talking about that area of the body, there's so many things that you can't just tell when you're in the stadium and you're getting those x-rays. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that this is the last time we see Aaron Rodgers. No, but at the same time, he's talking about, as long as we are still mathematically in it, I want to be out there. So I understand where you're going, but I also would like to pump the brakes on that just a little bit.
I want to study because I like being able to see and hear the words. There's such a disconnect at times between what gets put on paper or on your computer screen and what actually is said, how it's delivered, the facial expressions, the body language. So let's take a look at that. We're all out of order here, but that's okay. Let's have a listen and a look at Aaron Rodgers talking about his supposed desire to keep on going as long as the Packers are mathematically alive. Here it is.
And it was in the first half and then got kind of re-aggravated in the third quarter. Just having a hard time breathing and rotating my upper body. So I was worried about a punctured lung as well. So I want to get that checked out. Get a scan tomorrow.
So because they announced oblique in the press box, but it's a rib injury, not an oblique?
Yeah, it's not an oblique.
Do you think it's broken? Is that the early indication?
It was hard to tell on the x-rays, so we're going to do some more tomorrow. As long as I check out fine tomorrow, we'll expect to play this weekend. I want to take my mind there, but as long as we're mathematically alive, I'd like to be out there.
I mean, sometimes you just say the things that you feel like you have to say, so you cling to some hope because you don't want it to end that way. You don't want it to end with a whimper. You want to go out with a bang. So I'm inconclusive as to what that really means. He seems very concerned about what's going on in there, obviously. The x-rays only tell you so much. CAT scan today. And if he spent a large chunk of the game thinking that he had a punctured lung, he was in some severe pain. Broken ribs is something I had a long time ago. I fell down a hill, and I had multiple broken ribs, and it hurts like hell. I never thought I had a punctured lung. Of course, I wouldn't know what that felt like. I never felt like I had trouble breathing. I can only imagine trying to play football, feeling like you can't breathe, that half of your lung capacity is shut down or close to it. So there's a concern there. And on top of it, this thumb injury that keeps getting, I don't know if it's getting worse, but it's not getting any better. And all of a sudden, we've been hearing all these details about it when we heard nothing for weeks. I just feel like that's part of the setup to the slip to injured reserve once they are done for practical purposes. And there's a real difference between being mathematically eliminated and being done. The Packers are done, but they're not mathematically eliminated, right? The Bears are done, but they're not mathematically eliminated. And yeah, there have been teams that have risen from the dun and gotten to the playoffs somehow, some way. But having that extra game, it takes longer to be technically done, even though you're practically done. So I don't. I mean, if they would beat the Bears this weekend with Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman at quarterback, if Justin Fields doesn't play and they go into their bye week 5-8, they're not mathematically eliminated, but. And this is the other side of it too, Miles. The organization may want to see more Jordan Love after last night, because I think anybody partial to wearing cheese on their scalp would like to see more of what we got a glimpse of last night from Jordan Love.
Absolutely. And frankly, I mean, the Packers need to know something about Jordan Love and how he plays, because they have to make a decision on his 5th-year option. So I don't know what exactly that means, but I mean, practically, you do need to figure out something about whether or not Jordan Love can play quarterback in the National Football League. And if that means that Aaron Rodgers has to go on injured reserve to kind of preserve that image or what have you, and have him not necessarily be benched, then perhaps that's what you do. I don't know. But yeah, when Jordan Love comes in and he provides that spark, and you can see that he does have some chemistry with Christian Watson, I think in part because he was the quarterback for the entire offseason program, except for the mandatory minicamp. Right? He's been taking snaps. He's been working with these dudes. I think that makes a difference. I mean, look at this. He's off and he's running, and it was on time, on target. It's exactly the thing that you want from your quarterback. He provided a spark to Jordan Love. He provided a lift. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure exactly what this means for the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, I think to your point of, do you want to see Jordan Love play? Yes. Does that mean you want to push Aaron Rodgers out of the door? I don't think that that's exactly what you want to do, just based on what he means to that franchise. But sometimes you got to do things that don't really feel great in order to preserve your long-term interests.
And yeah, that's why they drafted Jordan Love in the first place. Rewind to April of 2020. They wanted Justin Jefferson. Oops, that didn't happen. And to make matters worse, he ended up with their division rivals. Then they wanted Brandon Ayuk. Well, that's when the 49ers traded up before the Packers could. So plan C wasn't get another receiver. Plan C was trade up to get Jordan Love. So this has been in the works, and it upset Aaron Rodgers. It created a lot of drama. It put a red-hot poker on his butt to 2 straight MVP awards. It did have a benefit, but now it gets a little bit awkward, because now you may want to find a way. You know, back in February of 2008, they found a way to do the old Michael Scott closing the door on Robert Dunder. They were able to find a way to get rid of Brett Favre. The problem is Robert Dunder started banging on the door saying, "Can someone call me a cab?" And Brett Favre started banging on the door saying, "I want back in. I want to play." So it was strange to say the least. And Rodgers has a lot of power here because of his contract. So it's something I want to fully study and break down, and I'll write about it at PFT. But they're going to have a hard time here if Rodgers senses that they're trying to float him on a sheet of ice the way they did to Brett Favre what'll be 15 years ago when this eventually unfolds. But I'm intrigued by Jordan Love. How can you not be intrigued by what we saw last night? And maybe the Eagles were playing a little soft. Maybe they were complacent. Maybe they were thinking the game was over the moment that Aaron Rodgers left, and they weren't out there applying the same kind of focus and effort. But, man, Jordan Love was throwing missiles all over the place. The sideline throws. I mean, Chris Collinsworth kept saying it, and he was right. Jordan Love looked awesome last night in the limited work that we witnessed, and came down to an onside kick, and they may have had a chance to get down the field and score a game-tying touchdown after they were left for dead. So there's a lot of good last night in what we saw from the Packers. Before Aaron Rodgers left, they kept fighting back, and then once Jordan Love came in, they got nothing to be ashamed of. You know, they had plenty to be ashamed of in their loss at home to the Titans a week and a half ago.
Sure.
They got nothing to be ashamed of last night. The only problem is they're they've now fallen to 4-8, and it's a tough road the final 5 games. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.